My name is Mohammed, and I'm from Lebanon.
Hello, I am Sofia and I'm from Mexico City.
My name's Andrew Martinez. I'm originally from the US, but I'm ethnically Filipino and Chinese.
My name's Nicholas. I'm from Canada. My parents are Lebanese. I have some Jamaican background as well.
My name is Nicole Brisbane and I am half Scottish and half Nigerian.
My name is Sarah Tatiana and I'm from Tunisia.
My name is Laura Palacio, and I am from Colombia.
I've been asked several times, what language do I speak in Mexico? And I was like, okay, we were conquered by Spanish.
I think people, in terms of stereotypes that people hold of me, I think that a lot of people view me sort of like the immigrant Chinese. So when people look at the stores like the Chinos, they might think of me sort of like that, where we don't really speak the language that well, and we just sort of do things of that nature. When somebody just knows my name first and then they call Andrew Martinez and they look up and they see an Asian guy, there's almost always a double take. So that's sometimes a little bit of a weird thing that I've noticed here. It's just, I guess maybe they're not used to the idea that someone who looks Asian can have a Spanish last name, but it is just sort of a little quirk.
But what stereotypes might they hold about me? I don't know. Like, people have all kinds of conceptions about people from the Middle East these days. Like, people wonder about like your religion and, you know, your motives and where you belong. Like, it's stuff that I think about myself, but like not like that.
Stereotypes I feel people hold against me can be broken down basically into 3 different parts. One, because I'm half Scottish, they believe I drink a lot. The other half is that I'm Nigerian, so they think the first thing that comes into people's minds is scams or thieves, that kind of stuff. And the other one is just me being mixed as a whole. We're oftentimes fetishized, and it doesn't really make any sense to me. Like, people assume we're really exotic. There's nothing exotic about me. I feel like I stand out a lot, and which is a really uncomfortable feeling for me. And it's not what people say to me, but it's the way people look at me. They look at me with like a lot of, you can tell it's disgust, you know what I mean? Like, they're angry at like, what is this person? What is this mixed thing? And that's how I feel. And when I try to explain that look to people, some people don't really get it.
The stereotypes they hold against me, like, I feel like there's 2 main stereotypes. The first one is like, when I tell people I'm from Africa, they usually tell me like, why are you white? How come you're not black? Then the second one is that obviously I'm Arab and a Muslim. A lot of Arabs and Muslims were like, kind of like depicted as like terrorists. I don't really feel accepted in Spain, no. First of all, because obviously I'm different. I'm not from here.
Some stereotypes I feel people hold against me or against me as a Colombian. I think that drugs are the first thing that comes to my mind. Like, we have this name for being drug dealers, or that we somehow get all our money from cocaine, which is obviously not true. And also some other subtle stereotypes, like for example, Colombian women have to be sexy, or they have to be like dressed in a certain way or something like that.
I don't think any expat feels accepted in Spain. I try to force to be accepted in other terms. While I was walking near a church in Serrano, specifically in front of the United States Embassy, and just to point out, like, my beard was not shaved and was fully grown, and this is something that indicates that I'm Arab. And I was just walking across admiring, and I was stopped by one of the securities of the embassy. He was asking for documentation, and my passport wasn't with me. So I was just showing him my passport on a soft copy on my phone, and that was pretty much it. But it wasn't really a smooth dialogue between me and him.
It was late at night in the station in Seoul, and there was basically this guy, I think he was pretty drunk, where he just went up to me, you know, unsolicited, and he just did, you know, sort of like the ching-chong slang to me, and maybe for like 10-15 seconds, and then went away, and it was just a very weird situation.
We were sharing a table with this older fella who was by himself. Started chatting him up, and within about like 3 minutes, this man is telling us about his opinions on black people and how like Like specifically what he said was like he was upset that the young men like around, like young Spanish men were dating black girls. Like there was a lot of sexism sprinkled into that too. Where I spoke to people in broken Spanish, like I'm not speaking to them in English, but I mean, you can figure out what I want. Cigarrillos, you know, ¿Dónde está Avenida de America? Shit like that. Like it's not complicated. But they just like they break eye contact with you and they just like pretend you don't exist. And I don't get that. Like
the one time that I can remember being discriminated against here is I was walking from uni with a friend, Nick, and I was like oblivious to what was going on. I was just interested in our conversation, and then all of a sudden I hear him going, "Do you have a problem?" And I turn around and it's him talking to this older gentleman who was staring at me with so much hatred, and like, so he was confronting him for me, and then he was like apologizing to me, saying like, "I'm so sorry you have to deal with this kind of stuff." But for me it's like, these looks, I get it all the time. Like when I see people looking at me a certain way, I basically just roll my eyes because I'm used to it now, being here especially, so.
A situation where I really felt like discriminated is like when I went to the bank to open up my bank account at Sabadell. I get the banker, obviously she doesn't speak really well English, but like we try and like communicate. She's like, listen, like we're scared about like people from Tunisia and all of these countries that they come here to like launder money. So in order for you to open up a bank account, we need to have your dad's taxes. I sent her the taxes, then she's like, listen, like, okay, it's fine, we can open up your bank account, but there's a couple of conditions. What are those? You're not allowed to deposit cash because we don't know if that's like dirty money that you're gonna bring in, and that's it. That's just because I'm from Tunisia, a third world country, and that's what you get. Out of the 42 students, I'm the only Muslim. So sometimes when it's like concerning like religion or Islam or whatever, like I feel like I'm the only one who's gonna defend my values and my point of view, and like especially like I feel like no one here like kind of like knows what my religion is all about. The only thing they know is like ISIS and like terrorism. You cannot categorize us all into like one thing, you know, just like we're not all like this, and it's just like a minority of Muslims that are doing that, and you guys are just like making them the majority, whereas if you look at the majority of Muslims, like everyone is against ISIS. No one supports them. That is not Islam for us.
Thing they say to me when I say I'm Colombian is like Pablo Escobar, like we're synonyms, like they put me in the same place of Pablo Escobar, who is a murderer and a person who ruined our country, and for them it's just a synonym, Colombia, Pablo Escobar, and I feel disrespected because for them it's a TV show, it's Narcos, it's a movie, but for me it's like the suffering of my country, and it's the first word that comes to their mind, so it's like really annoying.
I'm really understanding of human nature because even myself sometimes I discriminate people without even knowing them. So it's just a matter of keeping an open mind sometimes and trying to get to know the other people. But it's something when you're on the end of the spectrum of being discriminated, it's just something that you have to accept. This is how people are, and we're at a very advanced state in human nature where we're very civilized. If you really look back to our history and see all the wars that we did with each other, we're at a good stage, I guess.
You feel like people have expectations based on the place that you come from, so they will try to make their preconceptions fit you and who you are, and once you are not like the model of what they thought you would be, they are surprised.
Say that think of people of certain minorities as people, not necessarily that, oh, Asian people do this, this, and this.
Here, like, you can feel it. If you're not Spanish, you don't speak perfect Spanish, people will make you feel out of place. Like, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. You don't even speak the language, like.
It would definitely be to be more educated and more open to everything or in all cultures, because no cultures are the same. They're different, or nor comparing them. Let's get exposed to everything and not say that you're superior to something else, because that's not true. I feel like difference makes us stronger rather than spread us apart.
I would love for people to stop trying to fit me or other people in a box. If you could look at us as who we are, especially, don't try to fit me into the category of a Scottish person or a Nigerian person or just a mixed race person, you know? So yeah, I would love that to change.
At the end of the day, we're not different. We're all the same. Just like if you get to know someone, you will realize that like you have actually more things in common than actually things that will set you apart.